Hey everyone, welcome back to Creepy N. So today's video is definitely going to creep you out. In this video we're getting into 4 true stories from people who went hiking during snowstorms and encountered something they'll never forget. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and let me know if you want more stories like this. Alright, let's get into tonight's stories. I was 24 when my 2 best friends convinced me to hike the White Mountains during winter break. Sarah and Maya had been planning this trip for months, and I was the last one to agree. Sarah was the experienced one. She'd done winter camping before, had all the certifications, knew how to read weather patterns. Maya was just adventurous and trusted Sarah completely. I was somewhere in between, nervous but not wanting to be the one who backed out. We picked a Thursday in late February because the forecast looked clear. Cold, but clear. We'd hike up to a shelter about 5 miles in, spend the night, and come back down Friday morning. Sarah had done this exact trail twice before. We started around 9 in the morning. The trailhead had 3 other cars, which Sarah said was normal for a weekday. The snow on the ground was packed and stable. Perfect conditions, she kept saying. For the first 2 hours, everything was exactly what I'd imagined. The woods were beautiful. Quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you whisper, even though there's no reason to. We talked about work, about Maya's terrible dating life, about nothing important. Just 3 friends hiking. Around 11, we stopped for lunch at a clearing. That's when Sarah checked her weather app and her face changed. What? Maya asked. Storms moving faster than they predicted, Sarah said. She didn't look panicked, just focused. It was supposed to hit tonight. Now they're saying early afternoon. How early? I asked. Couple hours, maybe. We had a choice. Turn back now and make it to the car before it hit, or push forward to the shelter and wait it out there. The shelter was closer than the car at that point, maybe 2 miles ahead versus 3 miles back. Sarah voted shelter. Maya agreed. I was the tiebreaker, and I said shelter too, because I didn't want to seem scared. We packed up fast and started moving. The wind picked up about 20 minutes later. Not terrible, just noticeable. The sky was still mostly clear, but you could feel something building. Maya saw them first. Someone else is heading to the shelter, she said, pointing ahead. Boot prints. Fresh ones, pressed deep into the snow. They were bigger than ours, probably a man's size. They were heading in the same direction, straight up the trail toward the shelter. Good, Sarah said. More people at the shelter means more body heat. We followed the prints. They were recent, maybe 30 minutes ahead of us. Whoever made them was moving fast and steady. Every few minutes we'd see where they'd stepped over a log or around a boulder. A real person, definitely. The snow started falling around noon. Light at first, then heavier. The wind was pushing it sideways. Sarah picked up the pace. We need to get there before visibility gets worse, she said. We were maybe a mile from the shelter when the prints just stopped. I almost walked past them before I realized. Maya noticed too. Wait, she said. Where'd they go? We all stopped and looked. The last boot print was clear and deep, right in the middle of the trail. And then nothing. No prints going forward. No prints leaving the trail. Just empty snow ahead of us. They must have turned around, Sarah said, but she didn't sound convinced. We would have passed them, Maya said. We've been following these prints for almost an hour. I looked back down the trail. Our 3 sets of prints were clear and obvious. We definitely would have seen someone coming back toward us. The trail wasn't that wide. Maybe they went off trail, I suggested. Sarah walked a small circle around the last print, looking for any sign of tracks leading into the woods. Nothing. The snow on either side of the trail was undisturbed. That doesn't make sense, Maya said quietly. The wind gusted hard and I felt that particular kind of cold that gets inside your chest. Sarah looked at the sky. We need to keep moving, she said. Storms here. She was right. We didn't have time to figure out the mystery of the disappearing hiker. We needed to get to shelter. The snow was coming down thick now, and the wind made it hard to see more than 20 feet ahead. Sarah was leading, Maya was in the middle, and I was in back. I kept looking behind us, watching our boot prints fill in with fresh snow. That's when I saw the new prints. I stopped walking. Guys. They turned around. Look. Behind us, coming up the trail, were fresh boot prints, the same size as the ones we'd been following, deep and clear, appearing out of the snow that had already covered our tracks from an hour ago. What the hell? Maya whispered. We stood there, all three of us, staring at prints that shouldn't exist. Someone was behind us, following our exact path, but there was no one there. Maybe it's another hiker, Sarah said, but her voice was shaking now. Maybe they're just behind us and we can't see them in the snow. Then why don't we hear them? I asked. We listened, just wind, to snow hitting our jackets. We need to go, Maya said. Right now. We moved fast. I kept looking back every few seconds. The prints kept appearing, always the same distance behind us, always empty, like someone invisible was following our exact route, stepping where we stepped. The shelter appeared through the snow like a miracle. It was small, just 3 wooden walls and a roof, but it was something. We practically ran the last 50 feet. Inside, we dropped our packs and caught our breath. The shelter was empty. No other hikers. No sign anyone had been there recently. Sarah checked her phone. No signal. She tried her emergency beacon. It registered our location, but couldn't send a message out yet because of the storm. We sat there for a long time, not talking much. The storm raged outside. Every time the wind died down, I'd look out at the trail, half expecting to see someone standing there. The prints stopped appearing once we were in the shelter, or maybe we just couldn't see the trail anymore through the snow. We spent the night there. None of us slept much. In the morning, the storm had passed. We packed up fast and hiked out without talking about what we'd seen. When we got back to the trailhead, there were still only 3 cars, ours and 2 others. The ranger station was a mile down the road, so we stopped there. Sarah asked if anyone had reported a missing hiker. The ranger said no. No one had been reported missing. No one had checked in for that trail yesterday except us. We didn't push it. What would we say? We drove home in silence. We haven't talked about it since. Not really. But sometimes Maya texts me late at night with just a question mark. And I know she's thinking about those prints too. About whoever was following us. Or whatever. This happened in January of 2005, and I'm only writing it down now because I need someone else to know. I need it to exist somewhere outside my head. My brother and I weren't supposed to be on that trail. The park had closed the upper routes because of avalanche warnings, but we'd hiked it before. We knew the terrain. We thought we were smarter than the warnings. Daniel was 2 years older than me. He was the one who suggested it. Our parents were going through a divorce that winter, and neither of us wanted to be home. The mountains were the only place that felt normal anymore. We started before dawn to avoid rangers. The snow was already coming down when we reached the trailhead, but it wasn't heavy, just steady. We figured we'd make the summit and be back down before it got serious. The first hour was fine. We didn't talk much. We never did on hikes. That was the point. Just moving forward, breathing cold air, not thinking about Mom crying in the kitchen or Dad sleeping in his office. Around 7, we saw the cabin. It wasn't on any map. Just a small structure set back from the trail, maybe 50 feet into the trees. Smoke was coming from the chimney. Someone's staying up here, Daniel said. We both knew that was weird. The park was closed. No one should have been up there. But people did illegal backcountry camping sometimes. We'd done it ourselves. We kept walking. But something made me look back. There was a man standing in the doorway of the cabin, just standing there, watching us. He was too far away to see details, but I could tell he was big. He didn't wave, didn't move, just watched. Daniel, I said. He looked back. Yeah, that's creepy. Let's keep moving. We hiked faster. The wind was picking up, and the snow was getting heavier. We should have turned back then. We both knew it, but neither of us wanted to say it out loud. Neither of us wanted to be the one who quit. An hour later, we were seriously regretting it. The visibility was maybe 20 feet. The trail markers were getting harder to spot. Daniel was leading, and I was following his footprints because I couldn't see anything else. That's when we heard it. A voice, calling from behind us, "Help! Please help!" We both stopped. The voice came again, fainter this time, swallowed by wind. "Someone's in trouble," Daniel said. We looked at each other. We both knew what we should do. You don't leave someone on a mountain in a storm. You just don't. We turned back, following our own tracks, calling out, "Where are you? Keep making noise." Nothing, just wind. We kept going back down the trail, calling out every few seconds. The voice didn't come again. Then we saw the cabin through the snow, the same one from earlier. We were right next to it now. The smoke was still rising from the chimney. "Hello?" Daniel called. "Did someone call for help?" The door opened. It was the same man. Up close, he was even bigger than I'd thought. Maybe 6.5 feet tall, wearing clothes that looked wrong too light for the weather. A flannel shirt, no jacket, no hat. His face was weathered and blank. "You boys lost?" he asked. "No," Daniel said quickly. "We heard someone calling for help." "Wasn't me," the man said. "Been inside all morning. There was something wrong with his eyes. They didn't blink enough. They just stayed fixed on us." "Maybe it was the wind," I said. "We should get going." "Storm's getting bad," the man said. "You should wait it out. Come inside." Everything in my body was screaming not to go into that cabin. Every instinct I had. "We're good," Daniel said. "Thanks though. Suit yourself," the man said. But he didn't go back inside. He just stood there in the doorway, snow accumulating on his shoulders, watching us leave. We hiked fast. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought Daniel could hear it. "That was fucked up," he said after a few minutes. Yeah. We kept moving. The storm was getting worse. We needed to get down before we couldn't see the trail at all. 20 minutes later, we heard the voice again. "Help. Please." It was ahead of us this time, up the trail, toward the summit. Daniel stopped walking. "That's not possible. We need to ignore it," I said. "What if someone's actually hurt?" "Daniel, that's not real. We need to go down now." But he was already moving toward the voice. I had to follow him. I couldn't let him go alone. The voice kept calling, "Always just ahead. Always just ahead." We followed it for maybe 10 minutes, getting farther from the trail, deeper into the woods. And then we saw the cabin again. The same cabin. Impossible, but there it was. Same structure. Same smoke from the chimney. "How?" Daniel started. The door opened. The man stepped out. Same blank expression. Same wrong eyes. "You boys come back," he said. It wasn't a question. We ran. I don't remember making the decision. We just turned and ran through the snow, crashing through drifts, branches hitting our faces. Behind us, I could hear footsteps, heavy and steady, not rushing, just following. Daniel fell. I grabbed him and pulled him up. We kept running. The footsteps stayed behind us, always the same distance. Like whoever it was could catch us whenever he wanted, but was choosing not to. I don't know how long we ran. It felt like hours. The storm was so thick we couldn't see anything. We just ran downhill, hoping we were going the right direction. Then suddenly we were at the parking lot. Our car was there, covered in snow. 2 ranger vehicles were there too, and rangers were suiting up like they were about to head out. "Jesus Christ," one of them said when he saw us. "Where the hell did you come from?" They took us to the station, made us hot drinks, checked us for frostbite, asked us questions. We told them about the cabin, about the man, about getting turned around in the storm. The head ranger pulled up a map. "There's no cabin on that trail," he said. "There used to be one, back in the 70s. Forest Service tore it down in 89. We saw it," Daniel insisted. "There was smoke. There was a man." The ranger looked at us for a long time. "You boys know anyone who died up there? Family member maybe?" "No," I said. "Why?" He didn't answer. just told us not to hike closed trails again and sent us home. Daniel and I didn't talk about it. Not on the drive home. Not ever, really. But 2 months later, he killed himself. He left a note. It didn't mention the hike. It talked about Mom and Dad. About not wanting to choose sides. About being tired. But I found his journal later. The last entry was dated the night before he died. It just said, "I keep seeing the cabin. I keep hearing him call my name. He's waiting for me to come back. I think about that a lot. About whether something followed us down that mountain. About whether it got to Daniel after all. About whether it's still waiting for me too. Sometimes, late at night, I hear a voice calling my name, faint, like it's coming from very far away, or maybe from right outside my window. I never look. I'm afraid of what I'll see standing there." I was 31 when I took my daughter hiking for the first time in a snowstorm. I know that sounds insane, but let me explain. My ex-husband had her most weekends. This was my weekend. Emma was 7 years old, and I only got to see her 4 days a month after the divorce. 4 days. I wasn't about to cancel because of some snow. She'd been begging to go hiking like her friends at school. She had the little pink boots, the puffy jacket, the works. I'd been promising her for months. The forecast said light snow, nothing serious, 2 inches at most. We picked an easy trail, just a loop through the state park, maybe 3 miles total, flat terrain, well marked. I'd done it a dozen times. Emma was so excited she barely slept the night before. She woke me up at 6 in the morning, already dressed, asking if it was time yet. I made us hot chocolate and we left around 8. The parking lot had a few cars. Families, mostly. I saw a couple with 2 kids heading out just as we arrived. That made me feel better. If other parents thought it was safe, it was safe. Emma held my hand as we started down the trail. She was talking non-stop about school, about her friend Zoe, about the snow. She kept stopping to look at animal tracks and icicles hanging from branches. "Mummy, look! Rabbit prints!" "That's right, sweetie. Good eye." I was taking pictures every few minutes. I wanted to remember this. I wanted her to remember this. Our first hike together. Something good in the middle of everything falling apart. The snow started coming down heavier around 9:30. Not alarming, just steady. Emma thought it was magical. She kept catching snowflakes on her tongue and laughing. We were about halfway through the loop when I realized we hadn't seen anyone else for a while. The families that had been ahead of us should still be visible somewhere on the trail. It was a loop. We should have passed people coming back by now. "Mummy, I'm cold," Emma said. I stopped and adjusted her scarf, made sure her hood was tight. "We're almost done, baby. Maybe 20 more minutes." She nodded and kept walking. Such a good kid. Never complained. Not like her father said. He told the judge she was difficult, that I couldn't handle her. He lied about so many things. The trail marker should have been just ahead. I'd been counting them. We were on marker 7, and there were 9 total. But when we got to where marker 8 should have been, it wasn't there. I looked around. Maybe I'd miscounted. Maybe the snow was covering it. "Mommy, are we lost?" "No, honey. Just hold on a second." I pulled out my phone. The GPS showed we were still on the trail. Right where we should be. But something felt wrong. The path looked different. Narrower. The trees closer together. I told myself it was just the snow changing how everything looked. We kept walking. That's when Emma stopped. "Mommy, someone's following us." My heart jumped. "What?" "Behind us." I keep hearing footsteps. I turned around. The trail behind us was empty. Our boot prints were already filling in with fresh snow. "There's no one there, sweetie." I heard them. When we stop, they stop. When we walk, they walk. Kids have good instincts, better than adults sometimes. I listened carefully. Just wind. Just snow falling through branches. "It's okay," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Let's keep moving." We walked faster. Emma kept looking back over her shoulder. "Mummy, they're still there." "Emma, there's no one. They're getting closer." I stopped and turned around fast, hoping to catch whatever she was hearing. Nothing. Empty trail, empty woods. But then I heard it too. Footsteps, crunching in the snow. The same rhythm as ours, stopping when we stopped. "Hello?" I called out. My voice sounded weak. No answer. Just that awful silence that comes after you call out and get nothing back. Emma grabbed my hand tighter. "Mummy, I want to go home." "We are, baby. We're going right now." I picked up the pace, practically pulling her along. She was almost jogging to keep up with me. The footsteps stayed behind us. Always the same distance, never catching up, never falling behind. We should have reached the parking lot by now. We'd been walking for almost an hour. The loop was only 3 miles. We should have been done. I checked my phone again. GPS still showed we were on the trail, but we weren't looping back. We were just going straight, deeper into the woods. "Mommy, I'm scared." "I know, baby. Me too. I shouldn't have said that. You're not supposed to tell your kid you're scared, but I was. I was terrified. The footsteps were getting louder now. Closer, but every time I turned around, there was still nothing there. Just our tracks filling in with snow, and behind them, another set of tracks. Bigger tracks, adult-sized, appearing in the snow where nothing stood. Emma saw them too. She whimpered and pressed against my leg. I made a decision. We went off trail, straight through the woods toward where I thought the parking lot should be. Breaking the first rule of hiking, but I didn't care anymore. We crashed through the underbrush. Emma was crying now. I was pulling her along, branches catching on our jackets. The snow was deeper here, up to her knees, and the footsteps followed us off trail. I could hear them clearly now, steady and patient, not rushing, just following, like whoever it was knew we couldn't get away. "Mummy, please." I picked her up and started running. She was heavy, but I didn't care. I ran through the snow, through the trees, my lungs burning. And then suddenly, we were at the parking lot. It appeared all at once, like walking through a curtain. 1 second, we were deep in the woods. The next, we were standing in the plowed parking area. Our car was the only one there. All the other vehicles were gone. It was just us, empty snow-covered asphalt, and our car. I put Emma in her booster seat with shaking hands. She was still crying. I locked the doors and started the engine. As I pulled out, I looked in the rearview mirror. There was someone standing at the edge of the woods, right where we'd come out, too far away to see clearly through the snow. Just a dark figure, perfectly still, watching us leave. I drove way too fast down the mountain road. Emma cried herself to sleep in the back seat. When I got home, I checked my phone. We'd been gone for 3 hours. The loop should have taken 90 minutes at most. I tried to tell my ex-husband what happened. He used it in court, said I was unstable, said I'd put Emma in danger with my paranoid episode, said I was making up stories to cover for getting lost. The judge reduced my custody to supervised visits only. I haven't taken Emma hiking since then. I haven't been back to those woods. But sometimes when I'm driving her back to her father's house after my 2 hours of supervised visitation, she looks out the window at the mountains and says quietly, "Mommy, do you think they're still there?" And I don't know what to tell her. I don't know if they were ever really there at all, or if I imagined the whole thing. But Emma remembers it too. She remembers the footsteps, the tracks, the figure at the edge of the woods. We both remember, and that's the worst part, not knowing if we were actually in danger, or if I let my fear of losing her turn shadows into monsters. Either way, I lost her a little more that day. She's 9 now. I see her every other Saturday for 2 hours at a supervised facility. We color, we play board games, we don't talk about hiking. But sometimes I catch her looking at me with this expression I can't read, like she's trying to figure out if her mother is crazy or if something really was following us that day. I wonder that too. Every single day I wonder. The thing about hypothermia is that it makes you feel warm right before you die. They don't tell you that in safety courses. They don't tell you that your brain will lie to you when it matters most. I learned that in the Rockies during a February whiteout with two people I thought I could trust. We weren't friends exactly. We were co-workers, Mark from accounting, Jennifer from HR. We'd been doing these quarterly team-building hikes for 6 months, and this was supposed to be the big one, the challenge hike, the one we'd all been training for. Mark planned the whole route. He had spreadsheets, contingency plans. He seemed like the kind of person who thought through every detail. That's why we trusted him. The forecast changed overnight. What was supposed to be clear skies turned into a storm warning. We were already at the trailhead when Mark checked his phone. "We can still do this," he said. "We'll just do the short loop instead of the full summit. 4 miles instead of 8. Jennifer looked uncertain. "Maybe we should reschedule." "We've been planning this for 2 months," Mark said. "We're already here. We have the gear. It's just some snow." I should have sided with Jennifer. I should have been the deciding vote to turn around. But I didn't want to be the weak one, the one who was afraid. So I said okay. We started hiking around 10 in the morning. The snow was already falling steadily, but Mark kept saying it was manageable. He'd done winter hikes before. He knew what he was doing. For the first hour, it was fine. Cold, but fine. We chatted about work, about the new manager, about stupid office politics, normal things. Then Mark's GPS died. Battery must have drained from the cold, he said, not sounding worried. "It's fine. I know this trail." We kept walking. The snow got heavier. The markers got harder to spot. And slowly, I started noticing that Mark was taking longer to find each marker. He'd stand there, squinting into the snow, before choosing a direction. "Are you sure you know where we're going?" Jennifer asked. "Yes," he said quickly. Too quickly. We weren't on the trail anymore. I realized it about 20 minutes later when we had to climb over a fallen tree that definitely wasn't there before. The path was too narrow, too overgrown. "Mark," I said, "we need to go back." "We're almost at the loop junction," he said. "Just a little farther." But his voice had changed. There was an edge to it, something tight and defensive. Jennifer stopped walking. "I want to go back. Now." "We can't," Mark said. "We've come too far. Going back would take longer than pushing forward." "You don't know where we are, do you?" I said. He spun around and I saw something in his face that made my stomach drop. Fear, and underneath it, anger. "I know exactly where we are," he said. "Stop questioning me." But he didn't. I could see it in his eyes. He was lost, and he'd been lost for a while, and he'd kept us walking anyway because he couldn't admit it. The storm was getting worse. Visibility was down to maybe 10 feet. We huddled together and Jennifer pulled out her phone. No signal. Mine was the same. "We need to find shelter," Jennifer said. Her voice was shaking. "We need to stop moving and wait this out." "If we stop, we'll freeze," Mark said. He was right about that. We couldn't just sit down in the snow, but we also couldn't keep wandering blind. "Let's try to get back to where we were," I suggested. "Follow our tracks back." We tried, but our tracks were already filling in. The snow was coming down so thick and fast that our footprints disappeared within minutes. We walked for another hour, or maybe 2. Time stopped making sense. Everything looked the same. White trees, white ground, white sky. Jennifer fell first. Just sat down in the snow and said she needed to rest. "Get up," Mark said. "You can't stop moving." "Just for a minute," she said. I tried to pull her up, but she was heavy, dead weight. She'd given up. "Jennifer, please," I begged. "You have to stand up." She looks at me with this strange, peaceful expression. "I'm so warm," she said. "Finally warm." That's when I knew hypothermia. Her brain was shutting down, telling her everything was fine. Mark and I got her standing. We had to basically drag her between us, each of us with one of her arms round our shoulders. We kept moving. I don't know where we were going anymore, just moving. Because that's all we could do. Mark started talking to himself, mumbling about the spreadsheet, about how he planned everything perfectly. about how this wasn't supposed to happen. "This is your fault," he said suddenly. To me, not to himself. "You said we should do the hike. You agreed." "What? No, you planned this." "You could have said no." "But she wanted to prove something. You wanted to look tough." He was spiraling, blaming me for his mistakes. But I couldn't argue with him because we needed to focus on keeping Jennifer moving. Except she wasn't moving anymore. She was completely limp. We were just dragging her through the snow. "We have to put her down," I said. "We need to call for help." "With what?" Mark shouted. "We don't have signal. We don't have GPS. We have nothing." He let go of Jennifer, just dropped her arm. She crumpled into the snow. "What are you doing?" I screamed. "She's already gone," Mark said. His voice was flat now, empty. "We can't save her. We can barely save ourselves." I knelt beside Jennifer. Her eyes were open, but unfocused. Her lips were blue. She was still breathing, but barely. "Help me," I said to Mark. "We're not leaving her." He was backing away, actually backing away into the snow. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry." And then he ran, just turned and ran into the whiteout. I screamed after him, but he didn't stop, didn't look back. He just disappeared into the snow. I was alone with Jennifer, and she was dying, and I didn't know what to do. I tried to drag her. I got maybe 20 feet before I couldn't anymore. My arms gave out. My legs gave out. I collapsed next to her in the snow. I don't remember much after that. Just cold, and then warmth. That terrible, lying warmth. I woke up in a hospital 3 days later. A snowmobiler had found me by accident, miles from where we'd started. Severe frostbite. Hypothermia. Lucky to be alive, they said. Jennifer died out there. They found her body the next day, right where I'd left her. Mark made it out. He'd stumbled onto a road and flagged down a car. He told the police we'd gotten separated in the storm, that it was an accident, that he tried to find us but couldn't. He never mentioned that he'd left us, that he'd run away and saved himself. There was an investigation, but nothing came of it. No evidence of wrongdoing, just a tragic accident. 3 co-workers caught in an unexpected storm. 1 didn't make it. Mark quit his job a week after the funerals. I heard he moved to another state, changed careers. I still work at the same company. I pass Jennifer's old desk every day. They gave it to someone new, but I still see her there sometimes, in my peripheral vision. And at night, when the wind sounds like it's howling through mountains, I hear Mark's voice saying, "She's already gone. We can barely save ourselves." I think about that moment a lot. About the choice he made. About whether I would have done the same thing if I'd been stronger. If I'd had the energy to run, I want to believe I wouldn't have. I want to believe I'm better than that. But I'm not sure anymore. The thing about survival is that it turns you into someone you don't recognize. And sometimes that person doesn't go away when you're safe again. Sometimes they just stay with you, waiting for the next time you have to choose. I still see Mark's name on LinkedIn sometimes. He looks happy in his profile photo. I wonder if Jennifer visits him too. That's all 4 stories. I hope they unsettled you. Because they still unsettle me. Let me know in the comments how these made you feel, and if you want more stories like this, real, dark, and uncomfortably human, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, Creepy N. Stay safe out there.